felt this free, like I am you and you are me. It's such a nightmare, trying to keep everyone happy, just a nightmare. Keep away from the ground.
If it's Thursday, it's time for Mystic Racing League action. Welcome, race fans. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Johnny Rapp in the Slingshot TV booth. We're bringing you live racing action for race number 26, the final regular season race of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series, live tonight from Thunder Valley. It's Bristol, baby. Nestled in the scenic mountains of Northeast Tennessee, Bristol Motor Speedway, affectionately known as the Last Great Colosseum, has been a cornerstone of motorsports since its opening back in 1961. The brainchild of local entrepreneurs Larry Carrier, Carl Moore, and R.G. Pope, the track was inspired by a visit to the newly constructed Charlotte Motor Speedway a little bit further north. Initially measuring a perfect half mile with 22-degree banking in the corners, Bristol has undergone lots of transformations to enhance the racing experience. One of the most significant changes came back in 1992 when the track transitioned from an asphalt to a concrete surface, a rarity among NASCAR tracks. This change has solidified Bristol's reputation for high-intensity racing, loved by some, hated by others. In 1978, Bristol introduced night racing, adding a new dimension to its allure. The steep banking ranging from 24 to 28 degrees in the corners, combined with a nighttime setting, creates a Coliseum-like atmosphere that's both thrilling and intimidating for drivers and spectators alike. Over the years, Bristol has been the backdrop for numerous unforgettable moments. One such instance was back in 1995 when Terry Labonte clinched victory despite a fierce challenge from Dale Earnhardt. This race popularized the term the Chrome Horn, as Earnhardt's aggressive tactics led to a dramatic and unforgettable conclusion. Chris, we often refer to Bristol as the Last Great Colosseum. These drivers are going to have to go and put on their gladiator helmets tonight for 200 laps if they want to make it to victory lane at the end, and some even vying for a playoff spot. What are these 30-plus drivers going to have to do tonight if they're going to vanquish their toughest opponents on the racetrack tonight?
Well, as first step they're going to have to do is avoid the calamity. Next step after that, keep those tires underneath them for an entire run. Both of those are immense challenges these drivers are going to have to overcome tonight. Bristol has dashed many championship dreams over the years. For 3 drivers tonight, they hope that their championship hopes are still alive at the conclusion of tonight's race. We've got 200 laps around Bristol tonight, 67% of the fuel tank available to these drivers, 5 sets of tires in the pits. It's going to be a night filled with action from green flag to checkered flag.
We're going to be talking about that action as one of many stories we're going to be following tonight, including the final regular season race before we start the playoffs. A couple drivers still on the outside looking in. Tonight might be the night to lock their way into this playoff. Now, we're going to get to those stories, but before we do that, it's time for everyone's favorite pre-race tradition. Folks, rise and remove those caps if able. We'll be right back after the playing of the national anthem. You are looking live at Bristol Motor Speedway, just moments away from the green flag for the final race of the regular season for the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series before we start a 7-race playoff. And I think that's a great place to start, Chris, talking about the point standings with just one race left. Those drivers highlighted in green, they're locked in, but you'll see 2 drivers in yellow. Those are the drivers just above the cut line. And then you've got those 3 drivers in red, Moyer, Zukoff, and McKay. They're right below the cut line. Walk us through how each one of these groups is in your mind, going to be driving tonight. What do you expect to see from these guys, Chris?
Well, I'm looking at the drivers right now that are beneath the cut line right now, and I think we'll see probably max aggression out of those drivers tonight. They're going to try to collect as many points as they can, especially if they don't feel like maybe they have the speed to win the race. Maybe they'll try their best to put themselves in position to get the most amount of stage points they can possibly get. If you're Joshua Gillen, or especially Brett Wren, who is very close to that cut line right there, it's probably going to be about avoiding the calamity on the track tonight, trying to make sure you keep your nose clean. There is a quick repair for these drivers tonight. So if you do take some damage, and big wrecks are very common here at Bristol Motor Speedway, get yourself back in the pits, use that fast repair. But if you can save it, put it in your back pocket for late in the race, when all the chaos is probably really going to even get worse, that's probably your best bet.
Chaos is one of the stories we're going to be following all night long, which brings us to the main stories for you fans to follow watching at home. Chris, the first one, save those tires. We talked to drivers in pre-race. They're concerned about the tire wear. It's a loose racetrack. We've seen a lot of drivers slipping and sliding. What does that do to these tires? What are you expecting drivers to see tonight in terms of tire wear?
Yeah, Bristol Motor Speedway's always been a track right here on the iRacing service that does destroy the right front tire. It will go through it very quickly. Sometimes you don't even feel like you're driving that hard here, and sometimes you'll still be burning up the right front tire. It can be a difficult track to save the tire at, especially if you're trying to run up high. And as you mentioned, Ellis, some of these drivers were, struggling with a loose condition in practice. We saw many self-spins. I think that we're going to have to keep our eyes on tires that, especially right rear tires, that get hot. If you slip and slide a little bit in one corner, you better be prepared in the next corner for that back end to possibly want to come around on you. So you want to try to keep that car as straight as you possibly can all night long.
And I think that is really intertwined with story number 2, managing traffic. With it being such a short track here, Bristol, just over a mile, these drivers are going to, half a mile, these drivers are going to be hitting lap traffic fairly quickly. And leaders catching traffic, you've got to go. You can't afford to lag back and play it cautiously, because you're going to have the driver behind you breathing down your neck. So that makes it even more difficult to hang on to tires.
It definitely does, Ellis. And, you have some options here as far as, 2 different lanes that are pretty fast. The top can generate a lot of momentum down the straightaway. And if you have a good enough handling vehicle, you can definitely roll the bottom underneath somebody. Now, that driver on the top side can hold you off for a lot of laps. So if you're, possibly looking to go a lap down, a lead lap car trying to pass you on the bottom might have a really difficult time trying to get around you. You can really make that guy's life very difficult. And if you are a driver going a lap down, that's something that you want to try to keep in your back pocket. You don't want to ruin the leader's race, but you definitely don't want to fall a lap down early on.
Chris, you and Connor Lyons share a similar mindset here. He's warning drivers, calm down, think about those points. Maybe talking to Brett Wren and drivers right on the cut line specifically. Another big story we're going to be watching all night long. This is a rhythm sort of based racetrack. These corners come up fast, and you really don't have much time to think about things. You got to lock in early.
You definitely do. This is a rhythm track, especially if you go green. Now, I know that green and Bristol don't really go hand in hand. You don't think about long green flag runs. If we do get them tonight, you will see these drivers really try to get in that rhythm and try to hit their marks every single corner here. I try to, always approach this with the mentality of I want to roll the bottom here. I think that's always been my best bet to save tires, Ellis. And when I do get in a rhythm on the bottom, I find that it can be one of the more fun tracks to race at, because, you're always experiencing something new with the traffic around you. And like I said, it is difficult to save your tires here. So you really got to be on your game and, like you say, lock in out there.
They are going to be locked in, as the kids say. The final story, Chris, Bristol has become notorious for big ones. And I know for a short track, that's something we're used to hearing at Daytona or Talladega, but why has the big one become such a thing here at Bristol, catching maybe 6 or 7, cars or more?
There's a few things I think that go into that, Ellis. For one of them is that this is a half-mile track, but it is an insanely fast half-mile track. When you compare it to Martinsville, which is also a half mile, they're going so much faster here because the banking is so steep. It's just hard to avoid a crash when you're going that much faster. Another thing that I don't think it's talked about often enough is just the intense banking in the corner. When you are in the corners and you are loaded up in the corners, you can't really see up to the next straightaway until you are literally on the straightaway. And so if there's a car that is stopped on, halfway down the straightaway or even a quarter of the way down the straightaway in front of you, it makes it very difficult, especially with the speed that you're carrying, to avoid that person. You kind of need a little bit more warning. So this is a track where we might possibly see some big crashes tonight.
Well, IRP, another short track last week, put on a great show. Cody Giles took the win there. Tonight, Giles isn't here, but some of his competitors are, and some of them are starting on the front row tonight, Chris. Jacob Cochran took the pole here as qualifying comes to an end, and Cochran has shined on short tracks this season. That 84 is no stranger to victory lane, so starting on the pole, he's got a good shot to end up in victory lane at the end of the night. Let's talk about the starting lineup as we see that Cochran is going to be starting on the pole. Second in name, we haven't seen qualify up this close to the front of the field in a little bit. Adam Holston, we saw him fast in practice and quite a lap put down by driver number 8. A victory earlier this season at Las Vegas, looking to get back into victory lane and start the playoffs right with some momentum next week. Christian Barnes going to be starting third in that number 27. And I believe Christian Barnes won the truck race last night, if I'm not mistaken. Evan Janik is fourth. Sorry, Christian Barnes didn't win the truck race. He won the cup race last week. Evan Janik starting fourth in that number 71 on the outside of row 2. It's going to be Gavin Henson, the 39 car, starting fifth tonight. He's looking for a win, and we think he's close, so keep an eye on driver 39. Caleb Hunt, great qualifying effort out of the Purple Monster tonight. That 78 is going to be starting on the outside of row 3 from 6. Douglas Wasaki, the 11 is going to be starting 7th tonight. Great qualifying effort for the green and white machine. Aaron Espy, Iowa winner, going to be starting 8th tonight. Keep an eye on that number 16. He's got some short track prowess. Casey Bristow in their first start is going to be starting in the 9th position with that number 7 machine. Meanwhile, Zachary King starting 10th in that number 1.
And rolling off in the 11th position, we have Derek Jewett in the number 45. And on his outside, one driver we haven't seen too much in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. That's Colin Bollinger in the 53, rolling off 12th. On the inside of the next row, we've got rolling off in 13th position, Joshua Gillen. And on his outside, Rayshawn Winkfield in the boys machine. On the inside of row 8, Alan Zukoff, one of those bubble drivers. Alan needs a lot of points tonight to possibly put himself into the playoffs. And on his outside, Brad Nelson. On the inside of row 9, we've got David Moyer, another driver who needs points tonight. Not as many as Zukoff. He just needs 16 points to get himself into the playoffs. And on his outside, Robert McKay, who needs a lot of points tonight. Alex Pollock is going to roll off on the inside of row 10, and Gino Volante on his birthday is going to round out the top 20, Ellis.
Chris, talking about playoff drivers, Brett Rinn's on the bubble looking to get in. 16 points to the good right now. He's going to have to come from 21st tonight and improve that position if he's going to get into the playoffs. Reggie Kime starting 22nd in that number 9 machine. Meanwhile, back in 23rd is going to be the 07 of Justin Schaub. And then 24th to his outside is going to be Michael Wade. Had a couple good finishes this season. See if he can't follow those up tonight here at Bristol. Stephen Gill in the 03 going to be starting 25th with Zach White starting tail end of the field in that number 77 machine. He's coming from 26th tonight. Chris, just about a lap and a half away from the start of this 200-lap race. 200 laps is a lot of laps, a lot of times around Bristol. It's a short track, but a lot can happen over the course of the lap. If you're on top of that pit box, and let's just say you're coaching Douglas Wasaki, starting in the 5th position on the inside of row 3. Is he in the danger zone? What are you telling him to do? Just take it easy or try to get further up towards the front to avoid calamity?
Yeah, great qualifying run for Douglas Wasaki. And yeah, if I'm him, I'm actually feeling pretty good about where I'm at right there. On the inside, I've got some options. If there is a crash in front of me, I got some escape routes. Not many here at Bristol, but definitely more than you do on the outside lane right here. I'm definitely going to have my eyes out for early crashes, early self-spins with these cold tires right here. So, yeah, I'm just going to tell him to keep my eyes peeled and try to roll the bottom here for a few laps.
rolling the bottom, rolling the top. We're going to find out what drivers are going to do here momentarily. We're not going to have to wait much longer. Green flag is out. Adam Holston outside. Incredibly great jump on the number 84, Cochran, the pole sitter. Holston climbs the lead, now free by about 3 or 4 car lengths, headed down into 3 and 4.
And meanwhile, we got a side-by-side battle going on for the second spot. That's Evan Janik trying to use the momentum of that top lane, and he's going to clear the number 84 of Cochran to solidly move into the second spot.
Great move by Janik. He's now into second. Now Cochran trying to hold off Gavin Henson in that bright red machine to the outside. Henson climbs the banking. Cochran's going to leave the door open on the outside. Henson's going to take advantage of that. Caleb Hunt's watching this out of his front rear or windshield, and he's liking what he's seeing. Will he smell blood in the water and see if he can't capitalize on the fallback of the number 84?
Yeah, I think that what we're seeing right now out of that 84 is a lot of tire conservation. He is thinking the long game tonight. Don't really see him charging the corners very hard. Don't see him jumping back into the gas, maybe like some of his competitors around him. So he's thinking right here that he really needs to look after those tires here if he wants to make it to the end of stage 1 on them.
And we've seen Cochran really excel at tire management over the course of the races that he has run here in Mystic Racing League in the Fall Creek Plumbing Series. So maybe no surprise that 84 slowly moving further back, giving up a couple of positions in the first 4 or 5 laps. But if you're a number 84 Jacob Cochran fan, don't worry, as we almost go 3 wide there. Caleb Hunt makes the move to the inside. They head down into turn 3 and 4. Hunt looks like he's going to have the position on exit, though. Cochran's going to carry a little bit of momentum. Cochran might have gotten the wall scrubbed there just a little bit. No worse for the wear. Battle going on right behind them. You can see Aaron Espy and Douglas Wasaki side by side as well. Wasaki slides up to the right side, the left side of that number 16.
Oh, yeah, and Caleb Hunt right there, a little bit loose right there off of turn 4. Aaron Espy's doing a really nice job of rolling the top lane right there. He was battling side by side with Douglas Wasaki, and he's going to look to pick off another one right here as he gets by Wasaki and goes after Caleb Hunt in that number 78. Yeah, this is definitely a good strategy also, maybe to pick them off while you can. Try to, maybe not roll as fast as you can on the top, but utilize the momentum as I think Gavin Henson tagged the wall right there in front of him.
Yeah, speaking of momentum, Gavin Henson just lost a little bit there. Tagged the wall coming onto the back straightaway. He's still doing battle beside Jacob Cochran. That 39 is getting a little bit too close for comfort to the wall. You saw him wiggle one car down the backstretch. That's, I believe, Casey Bristow in the number 7. We're going to remain under green flag, but the race control does throw the caution flag to put us under caution here on lap number 11 of 55 in the first stage tonight of the Food City 200, the final race of the regular season for Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. Let's see if we can't figure out what happened to Casey in that number 7.
Yeah, he had a pretty good qualifying run, was up there running around the 10th spot when this occurred, and here he is right behind Zachary King in the number 1. It's the red and white Rockwell automation machine. Charges into the corner right here on exit right there. Yeah, just gets a little free right there, and that is just something that I think that we're going to see more and more tonight, Ellis. These cars are these Xfinity cars with these small blades, these small rear spoilers on the back of them, they get pretty loose, pretty free on corner exit, and if you do it one time, you kind of open yourself up to doing it again and again and again as that right rear tire temperature builds up.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the last time we see a car go sideways outside, out of one of the corners tonight. Puts us under our first caution. Of course, Bristow is going to come down pit road here and fix that damage. They've got a quick repair. The rest of the field, oh boy, that's not what you want to hear. Number 7, I think that car is toast for the night. The rest of the field is looking like they're going to stay out on track. This gives us a great opportunity to just say thank you for the fans watching at home, tuning in. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and hit the thumbs up button. Those likes absolutely matter, and it doesn't cost you a thing, folks. We are giving away a free Kyle Busch diecast. I think that guy's pretty good at Bristol, right, Chris?
It's pretty good. I think he's won a few races there, Ellis.
Just a few. We're giving away a free Kyle Busch 1/64th scale diecast tonight if you are the most active chatter in the YouTube chat. if you got a phone, if you got a computer, if you're playing on your iPad, whatever you're watching us on right now, pull up that chat. Let us know who you're rooting for, what you think's going to happen. React to what you see on the track. Let us know your opinion, or let's just chat about whatever you want to chat about. We've already got some chatters going on in the chat right now. Connor Lyons, as always, we're happy to see you. Josh is in here. Ricky LaFleur back this week as well. Alex Pollock. Make sure you are driving, Alex, and not chatting. Brad Nelson's in here as well. Several folks joining in the chat. You can be one of them, folks. We appreciate you tuning in. Right now, Adam Holston scored as your leader. Chris, how about that start that Holston got on the outside? Do you think our leaders learned anything by seeing what Holston was able to do there?
It definitely is a possibility, and we saw Evan Janik, who, he elected to take the outside on the choose right there behind Holston. I think that you're going to see, I would be shocked, Ellis, if any driver who is in the lead tonight chooses the inside lane at any point. I think that every single time that you have control, you're always going to take that outside lane. And even if you maybe are second, I think you're going to take the outside lane and be behind the leader.
Well, we're about to see what's going to happen here. Holston took the high line as the restart control driver, waiting to hit that Echo Park restart zone, mashes the throttle. We're back underway at the first caution tonight here. 20 or 15 laps down. Holston running in the middle of the track. The battle is for second. Janik's going to cede that second position to Jacob Cochran, but he's slowly going to work his way back up, climbing the banking to the outside. Janik's been fast so far in the first 15 laps, looking to pick off another spot here, move into second and take that away from Cochran as they head down into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, he's going to get the momentum right here on the exit of turn 2, and he is going to clear him right here. Jacob Cochran not really, he's pretty content, it seems, Ellis, to run the bail. As Adam Holston, our leader, gets really loose right there off of turn 4. Now, Holston's going to have to be really careful here, Ellis. Oh, it's Janik is sideways in the wall.
Big trouble for Evan Janik into the wall off of the corner. He's going to lose 3, 4, count them, 5 positions here potentially.
Oh, we got car sideways.
The number 3's in trouble. The 11 of Wasaki. Will anyone else be collected? It looks like it's going to be a 2-car collision here on lap 19 of 200. Cautions breed cautions, and we're under the second one tonight as we watch that 3 get it turned around in front of the field. What happened?
Yeah, we'll go back right here and see the 3 of Michael Wade was the first one I saw around. That's the Junior Johnson throwback right there, the Holly Farms machine. The number 3, he's on the outside right here. He and Douglas Sasaki were battling out right here off of turn number 4. Yeah, and he just got loose, just got free right. Oh, Brett Wren, one of our championship bubble drivers.
That is big news. Wren's probably, Chris, going to have to use his quick repair on lap 20 of 200 at Bristol. Just 16 points to the good is that number 24 Fall Creek Plumbing machine. That is a big turn of events with potential playoff implication here. Wren's going to probably have to come down pit road to the attention of his pit crew. We didn't initially see that 24 was involved. That was a pretty hard hit.
Yeah, there's some significant damage. I say significant. It's not race-ending damage or quick repair damage, I should say. And oh, he scared me right there. I thought he was going to hit the barrels right there, getting onto pit road. Yeah, that's some damage I think he's going to have to get fixed here. I don't think I would take the quick repair right now, Ellis. If the car is still handling decently, I think that I would maybe try to get as much of it fixed here under caution as I can, just to get some speed in it, maybe get some handling back in it. And try to make it to the end of stage 1 and sort of reassess where I'm at that point. I think I want to save the quick repair for, the chaos that we're probably going to see at the end of this thing.
Yeah, I think chaos is going to be the theme of the night. We keep on coming back to a couple comments in the chat. Ricky LaFleur says, I told you, Michael Wade needs to retire. I think there's a little frenemy relationship going on there between Ricky and Michael Wade. Connor Line says, Palby has 8 wins at Bristol. The GOAT, if you will. Kyle Busch, remember, we're giving away that free diecast. Let us know what you think about the racing in the chat, and you could take that diecast home. Joshua Gillen, a little upset. He says, Connor has no faith in me in that Integrity Farms number 10 machine. Yeah, we'll see what Joshua can do right now. That number 10 machine, I'm looking at. Oh, Josh, I'm going to look down through the field for you, buddy. He's sitting in the 18th position, but I'm sure he's going to work his way up through the field before you know it. All the Gillen fans watching at home Let us know who you're rooting for in the chat, whether it's that number 8 Adam Holston-driven machine who's currently scored as your leader, or any other driver in the field tonight. Working caution number 2 for that incident involving the number 3 machine, Michael Wade. Brett Wren, kind of a casualty, an innocent casualty of war there coming off the corner. We'll see how that car is handling. But right now, it's all about Adam Holston, Chris. We were talking about Holston halfway through the season, really the picture of consistency. And then that season kind of went up and down over the course of the rest of the season that we've run so far. The last 10 races or so, if you look at a line graph, it's up and down as we watch drivers take that choose rule. Holston's trying to lock back in here, and he needs that momentum, especially as we head into the playoffs. So tonight could be a good opportunity for driver number 8 to get back into victory lane and kind of establish himself as that championship favorite that we really were talking about him as, 15 races ago. So yeah, I'm interested to see what that 8 does on this restart as we ride on board the rear deck lid. Quite the view. I don't like, it's a good view, but it kind of makes me nervous to see 25 cars lined up behind me at a half-mile track.
Yeah, definitely right here is that the pace car is going to turn off right here and put the field in the hands of Adam Holston, and he's going to accelerate right here.
They are very capable hands. Great restart on that baseball machine. That number 8 leads the way. You can see Cochran about a car length back, but out like a rocket ship is the number 39 of Gavin Henson. Climbing that banking, that is a driver hungry for a win, and it's showing right now. He's liking that high line, Chris. I've seen him running it pretty much the entire race. Can he chase down the number 8 machine over the next couple of laps?
Yeah, and he's going to switch it up right here. Going to get into some clean air a little bit. Yeah, clean air does pay dividends here, even on the short track Bristol. I was about to say, and I think he tagged the wall right there. I didn't think there was many drivers running higher than Gavin Henson, but Adam Holston has kind of adjusted. Now he's running higher. If we go green now to the end of this thing, Ellis, be curious to see where the tires are at for some of these guys who are running as high as they are right now.
And I'm kind of watching the field. This tracks with what we were talking about coming into the start of the race, Chris. That 84 of Jacob Cochran, he's the lowest car on the track right now, lap after lap.
Oh, we got a car sideways.
That's the number 1 of Zachary King. He gets it going again after tagging the front stretch wall. I think we're going to still be under green flag conditions here despite King's wreck. Race director decides to hold that flag, and we continue on here on lap number 29 of 200. Holston continues to lead the way, but you're watching that battle with Jacob Cochran right now, and I really think we're seeing a driver who is very, very conscious of those tires and the life that they're going to have here at Bristol.
Yeah, absolutely right here, and we might be able to go side by side right here, Johnny, to get a look at that crash right there with Zachary King. Here he is right here coming off of turn 4, and yeah, corner exit like we've been talking about all night. That car gets sideways. He's going to hit the inside wall. I think that was a great call by the race controller to keep us going right here as he does a 360, puts it in gear, and gets to going.
360 indeed, and he gets it going. He's slid back outside the top 20 right now, but hopefully he can continue that run. Watching the number 84 right now. Good little battle going on here, though, back in the 10th position between Gino Volanti and Colin Bollinger as they work their way through the corner here. That's Volanti in the Western Auto machine. Almost a little bit of contact there down the backstretch. Looks like Bollinger's going to take that position. He's also looking to see if he can't pick off the number 9 spot from Douglas Wasaki in that 11.
Yeah, Bollinger's got that Dr. Doom, Dr. Pepper machine rolling on the bottom of the track right here. Yeah, he's working his way underneath Douglas Wasaki, and that speed on the bottom right there, Ellis, that's impressive, being able to pass drivers on the top like that. I think that's the signs right there of a driver who is really pacing himself and has got a really good feel for what he needs to do here at Bristol. He started at the back, Ellis. I think he was one of our EOL drivers maybe who missed the drivers meeting. So yeah, he is charging up through there.
Yeah, quite the impressive run for driver number 53. One other shout out while we're kind of in that region of the field. Back in 12th position, Robert McKay, Chris, looking for the 11th position underneath Volanti. This is one of those drivers we said he had a shot, but it was a long shot. just about 80 points back. I don't even know if he has a chance to get in there unless he has some help from some of those other drivers. But driver McKay, quite the drive tonight. Started back in the 18th position here at Bristol. He's already climbed up 7 positions. Had a rough string of bad luck here over the past month, 4-6 weeks. But right now, that 88
we
is
got a crash.
Right way on the track, but caution
Big
is
crash.
out.
Brett Wren is involved.
Wren is in it.
Oh,
Aaron
more
Espy,
involved.
Bollinger, Wasaki, 15 cars maybe. Evan Janik piling in, the number 47 of Moyer. Another playoff driver. The field is stacked up on the front stretch here on lap number 39. My goodness, the big one has struck early, and Wren has towed it to the pits.
Ellis, we talked about it in the pre-race. We're going to go back and look at it right here, but a small crash turns into a big crash very quickly as the contact right there. Yeah, Brett Wren gets loose right in front of Gavin Henson. Yeah, just gets that thing sideways. That car was damaged earlier, and unfortunately for Henson, he gets in it. Caleb Hunt is involved. Aaron Espy. There goes Brad T. Nelson involved. Another car piles in right there, but knocks Brett Wren up in the air. That's Rayshawn Winkfield involved. Yeah, and there's Bollinger getting knocked up in the air. Look at all these cars piling into it. And I promise you, Ellis, it's not because they had ARCA brakes here. It looks like that, but you just cannot. It's hard to miss these crashes.
That is the big one, and you mentioned it, Chris. The field of view and perspective in the horizon line comes up real fast here at Bristol. Watching it back here, Brett Wren and Gavin Henson headed down into turn number 3. That's where the trouble struck. Wren gets loose right in front of Henson, corrects it back. Henson just made the wrong judgment. He'd had a 50-50 chance of making it through that, and he chose the choice that rendered him a part of that wreck. And drivers have the option to come down pit road, but I don't see any of the front runners taking it. The only guys you see coming down right now were folks involved in that lap number 39. Big one, and that's putting it lightly. Just by the eyeball test, Chris, I think there were at least 12 cars of our 28-car field involved in that tonight. So that's going to put us under caution for the 3rd time here on lap 42 of 200. Might be a good opportunity to pull away for just a minute and hear from our presenting partners of the race and the series, Fall Creek Plumbing. If you got any leaky pipes, make sure you call up Fall Creek Plumbing in that Midwest Indiana area.
Whether it's a sudden leak or a project you've been meaning to tackle, Fall Creek Plumbing is here to help. Serving all of Central Indiana, we're a small family-owned business based in Pendleton, built on honesty, quality, and care. From slab leaks and water heaters to full plumbing upgrades and everyday maintenance, our team brings experience and craftsmanship to every job, big or small. It's not just about fixing problems, it's about providing reliable, long-term solutions for your home. At Fall Creek Plumbing, we believe in showing up on time, treating your home with respect, and doing the job right the first time. Because peace of mind shouldn't be a luxury, it should be the standard. Fall Creek Plumbing, local, reliable, professional, and proud sponsor of Mystic Racing League.
Back here in Bristol, drivers just took the choose rule, and the top 3 take the top. That is an indicator of where these drivers feel most confident, where they feel like the speed is currently on the track. The sun's slowly going down, and right now the pace car is getting ready to make that hard left-hand turn as these drivers work their way through turns 3 and 4, getting ready for the restart here on lap 44. Pace car is off. That's Holston in that number 8. He's got Evan Janik to his inside. Holston with the jump on the restart. Now it's going to be a battle for second between Janik and Cochran. Cochran, that number 84, climbing the banking, trying to get some momentum.
Oh, we got another crash, Ellis.
Big time, big crash here in turns number 1 and 2. The 07, the number 1, caution for the 5th time tonight out on the track.
Yeah, Ellis, I looked up and I saw the 07 car turning upside down in turns 1 and 2. We'll go back right here and see that there was a little bit of stack up around Stephen Gill. That was the first one I saw that didn't get moving. That's right here in front of the 07 of Justin Schaub. Yeah, see, Gill's having a little bit of a hard time right here. Maybe some contact from Bollinger from behind into the 07. Zachary King involved right there. Oh, and that was, I couldn't tell who that was that came in there and tagged the 07 and turned him upside down. But yeah, he went for one heck of a ride right there in turns 1 and 2.
That was quite the ride. It puts us under caution for the 5th time tonight. We thought it could be chaotic, and it hasn't disappointed, Chris. I think one of the drivers we've seen through many of these incidents kind of working their way through, Gino Volanti. I'm curious if we can't bring driver number 35 into the broadcast booth right now, see what's going on with that. Hey, Gino, it's Ellis and Chris and Johnny up in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, brother?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Well, man, happy birthday to you. Good run going for you in that number 35 on your birthday. Talk to us a little bit about the chaos that we've seen on the track. You kind of made it through the big one just a couple of laps ago. What was that like?
It's crazy. This track is super fast, and these guys just need to take it easy for a little bit. We got a long way to go. I'm going to try and make it.
Well, good luck out there. You heard it from Gino. Crazy out on the track right now. What voice chat were you in, brother?
Black flag.
Black flag sending you there now. Good luck. Hopefully you don't have any black flags the rest of the race.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so you heard it from Gino. They're chaotic, crazy. He says drivers just need to lock in. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing in the chat right now. Fans watching at home telling us these guys got to lock in, talking about the big one, 2 big ones in a row. And Chris, we mentioned it during the last caution flag. Some of these drivers are out of quick repairs. We've seen probably at least a third of the field have to come down pit road and take that instant quick repair. Any damage they get the rest of the night, that's not on the house anymore. That's on their tab, and they're going to have to take the time to make those repairs, or they're going to be out of the race. So big story maybe as we're just a quarter of the way through here at Bristol for the final race of the regular season for the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. You want to be one of these drivers without a quick repair right now?
I definitely don't, and I am seeing an official retirement, it looks like, from the 24 car of Brett Wren, Ellis. That is a significant development right there. The 24 is showing is classified as out of this race, and it looks like he has left the server, I believe. He is showing grade for me, so significant development right there. Is I'm looking for our championship, one of our championship drivers. Yeah, David Moyer right now, through all this chaos, finds himself in the 6th position, Ellis.
This is a big story developing. Brett Wren, as the drivers take their choice. Brett Wren, 16 points to the good, has parked it. 25th, that is the absolute best. That 24 car is going to finish tonight. By my calculations, Chris, 9th position. 9th position is what that 47 of David Moyer is looking for tonight. A 9th place finish will lock him into the final spot in the playoffs. And that is a big, big story right now.
And Ellis, right here, I think that also a really big story is he is very close to stage points here. A lot riding on this choose right here. Which lane is he going to decide to go? He's going to take the bottom lane, Ellis. He's going to line up inside. Yeah, inside of row 3 right here. So a lot riding on this choice. He definitely wants to try to nab maybe a couple points here if he possibly can.
Those stage points could be very, very big. 5 laps remaining. It will be a 4-lap shootout when these drivers take the green flag at the line. Derek Jewett, a newcomer to the top 5, Chris, that 45 shows in the inside. He's going to be starting 2nd. Holson's going to be the go car, as we call it, here on the outside. He's going to be the car to decide when we go green. He's going to bring out the green flag when he enters that green Echo Park restart zone. He's in it right now. He does it halfway through. Jewett gets a pretty good start. Moyer a little bit slow on the draw there, Chris. He's got to work under Volanti. That 47 is the car we're looking to see if Ken gets stage points here. The battle is on for 2nd. The number 84, Cochran, looks to the inside of Derek Jewett. Moyer sideways in the corner. A playoff driver. Hold on to it, David. He gathers it back up. He's good in that number 47, but it's a battle for 2nd. Jewett and Cochran. Cochran gets his way by into 2nd place as they head down into turn 3.
Yeah, Cochran has been riding, I feel like, most of the race right here. He's letting it all hang out right here, Ellis, in the last couple stages or the last couple laps of this race. Side-by-side battle right here for 3rd. Jewett looks like he's in trouble.
Jewett really struggling on the outside. He's gotten the wall a couple times. Just coming to the white flag here. Holston's taking that white flag when the first 5 cars cross the line. That will bring out the caution for the end of stage number 1. Holston works his way down the backstretch. Cochran not close enough to potentially make a move. He's going to have to settle for second. Behind them, it's top 5 single file. Holston, Cochran, Gillen, Bollinger, and Volante is your final stage point winner for stage number 1 of the Food City 200 here at Bristol. Wow, that's just stage 1, folks. It's been a thriller so far.
It definitely has. And, David Moyer, I know he really wanted stage points right there. He maybe wanted to make things a little bit easier for him at the end of this thing. But as sideways as that car was on the opening lap of that restart, I think he's probably just very happy that he's got a car still underneath him because he was dead sideways.
Yeah, good job to David Moore hanging on to it. He's thinking big picture right now, but it's that number 8 who's leading the way under caution for the end of stage number 1. We're going to see drivers come down pit road here, I would imagine, to the attention of their crews. Driver's going to be, bit a little contact. David Moyer and Stephen Gill back there, Chris, wanted to point out a little bit of contact to the rear bumper. I think both drivers are okay, but not sure. Just a little bit of stack up as the driver slowed down to come down pit road. Polson's going to lead the way. You see Moyer coming down there. Stephen Gill, yeah, not sure if there's a little bit of tension there or not.
Yeah, there looked like a little brake check a couple times right there from the 0-3. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, what's up with that? But might be some hostilities between those two drivers right there. Hey, if I'm David Moyer, just if I'm his crew chief, spotter, in his ear, anything like that, I'm just telling him to keep his cool right here. He's in a really good spot right here. A lot of things still have to go his way, Ellis, but he's in a really good position tonight.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Been gifted an early exit by Brett Wren. That 84 of Cochran and Holston, they're looking from early exits from pit road to see if they can't win the battle off. It was Holston who came out first, and that number 84 just about a second behind based on the movement we're seeing on track. But Chris, they're both beaten by, I believe that's the number 77 of Zachary White. I believe he took 2 tires, if I'm not mistaken, and they're drivers that stayed out on that pit stop. So this is going to be an interesting shakeup in the field. We're going to talk about that here momentarily when we get back from the next commercial break. Very quickly, 30 seconds from Whiplash Simcams. They make all the camera angles that you are seeing tonight possible. It wouldn't work without them, or our producer Johnny. Will be right back. You are looking live at Bristol Motors Speedway, gearing up for the restart. The start of stage 2 coming up in just about 3/4 of a lap. Catching you up on the action so far. Several cautions, including a couple playoff contenders on the bubble. But it's the top 5, Chris, that have made an interesting move. They chose not to come down pit road. They came a little bit earlier. So we're already starting to see a varied strategy by these drivers. It's going to be Rayshawn Winklefield and that number 23 who's chosen the outside. And Chris, a big story here. Not sure what's going on with that number 23, if he got a black flag or not. I don't see anything about that in the, oh, there it is. EOL for the number 23. We are not sure what that EOL is for. But that's going to shake things up a little bit. It's going to put the restart, Chris, in the hands of Reggie Kime in that McDonald's machine, the number 9.
Yeah, we've got some varying strategies right here. We got some drivers up at the front of this thing right here who stayed out, maybe pit on an earlier caution. And then you have a driver on the inside of row 3, that's Zach White, who came to pit road and took fuel only on that stop. The first car on 4 tires, I believe, Ellis, is going to be the number 8 of Adam Holston.
If you're Adam Holston, you got to be careful here. Pivotal moment of the race, a little bit further back in traffic, outside of row number 3. Pace car is going to peel off. Kime's going to try to get a good restart here. Be careful not to spin those tires. Looks like he might have spun him. Alex Pollock in the Black Diamond Designs machine goes to second, now first position for that number 92. And how about Aaron Espy? Oh, big contact almost. One car sideways down the front straightaway. They save it. We're still under green flag conditions down the backstretch.
Yeah, Alex Pollock having a really hard time right here on this opening lap. Aaron Espy's car looks like it is performing a little bit better right now in that 16 machine on the inside. He's rolling the bottom nicely, but Alex Pollock looks like he's gotten that thing a little bit back up to speed, but I think he's going to have to settle in behind the 16 machine.
Driver number 16 to P1, Aaron Espy is the new leader in that number 16. He's been hunting the lead all night long, and he's finally taking a shot there in that real tree. Number 16, Pollock second. Evan Janik back in that third position, watching the battle transpire out in front of him. But the racing behind these guys, Chris, is just as wild. Adam Holston working on Evan Janik. You can see it there as they head down into the corner of the baseball machine of Holston to the outside, making that line look like the fastest one right now.
Yeah, one of our championship bubble drivers, David Moyer, had a little bit of trouble right there on that restart. Moyer slid back a few spots, but he did save the car. He was all the way down on the apron of the racetrack, but he gathered it back up right here as we're watching a side-by-side battle between...
Gino sideways on the front stretch. Heavy contact for driver number
Zukoff's
35.
around.
Zukoff as well. That's going to put us under caution number 6 tonight. Stephen Gill also loose off at the turn there. Big trouble for several cars here. And Chris, it was like a slow motion horror film there for the 35 headed off the corner. A slow spin for that 35.
Yeah, you got loose right there off of turn 2. And, you know, we talked about it before. That just heats up that right rear tire, Ellis, and it puts you very vulnerable in the next corner for that to happen again to you. And, yeah, Gino Volanti is going to go around right there, tag the inside wall. He's going to come back across. Oh, some contact from behind. I think that was the number 1 machine of Zachary King who tagged Alan Zukoff, unfortunately. One driver sees the crash, another driver does not. And Zukoff, Alan really needed a lot of help tonight to put himself in the, in position to, advance his way into the playoffs. And unfortunately, that's taken a pretty big hit right here, Ellis.
A big hit indeed for that number 91 machine, all but sealing the deal. It's going to be really a battle, I feel like, between Brett Wren and David Moyer, that 24 and 47. Caution for the 6th time tonight on the racetrack. Lap 70 of 200. It's been an action-packed Food City 200. Race number 26, the final race of the regular season before we begin our playoffs. And right now, Aaron Espy, he's been fast all season. He's not a playoff driver. Adam Holston is, though, right behind him. Evan Janik, the regular season champion in that number 71 machine, right behind those guys. Chris, as we watched a couple of these playoff drivers, including Alex Pollock right behind them, who you got picked as your favorite to win this thing over the course of these final 7 races?
I don't know. It's really tough. I feel like earlier this season, I felt like Evan Janik was the clear championship favorite, but, he's had a couple of off weeks and, some misfortune in recent weeks, and I think that maybe he's kind of been a little bit on the backslide a little bit, but that's not to say that he can't heat it back up again, as these playoffs continue to roll on. I think that Janik, Jacob Cochran, I think those two guys are probably sitting right there as probably the odds-on favorites. But then you got a guy like Adam Holston who, I feel like, he could definitely get hot right here and light it up in these final races as well. So, I feel like it might be anybody's championship once they reset this thing.
Speaking of reset, we're getting ready for the reset here. Drivers coming ready around turns 3 and 4, getting ready to take the choose, I believe, which will bring us to the 1 to go, Chris. One driver I want to talk about, the number 45, back in 14th position, Derek Jewett. He's a playoff driver that we saw pick up that win at Daytona, and we've talked about kind of how consistent he's been in the weeks since with just fast runs after fast runs and making good decisions as these drivers make their choose decision. That number 45 is mired back in the 14th position. How do you talk to your driver about frustration and maybe just a little bit frazzled back in the middle of the pack you got to talk to him about the bigger picture.
Yeah, you definitely do. I mean, there's a long ways to go in this thing, Ellis. You know, we're not even halfway yet. Stage break coming up here at lap 110. You know, I'm not freaking out, you know, until maybe you get down to the final stage of this thing. We'll get that restart right there on fresh tires. That's probably going to be the time where I'm thinking about getting myself into position.
Speaking of into position, they're in position for the restart. Sun is setting. Aaron Espy gets a great jump on the field as he brings us back under green. Adam Holston there on the inside. That number 8 is taking off like a rocket on that inside line. A couple cars grab the wall off of turn number 2, but it's a battle for first. That's Aaron Espy and that number 16 Iowa winner up against the number 8 of Adam Holston, Las Vegas winner. Holston's got a good run going. Both drivers shift up to the outside. Meanwhile, Evan Janik not too far behind. Big gaggle of cars here headed down into turns number 3. There's David Moyer and Rayshawn Winkle.
Oh,
Contact, playoff contender David Moyer. Big trouble for the 47, limps it around the front stretch. We're not going to be under caution yet. That car is totaled, Chris. That was a hard contact with the wall. He's going to have to bring it down pit road as we continue on green flag racing.
Yeah, we might be able to go side by side right here to possibly look to see what happened to David Moyer right here. He's on the outside. That car gets loose down into Caleb Hunt, tags the outside wall, and that is significant damage to David Moyer's machine and to his championship hopes.
Big story there. I don't know if David's used that quick repair, but he's going to have to lose a lap with this green flag pit stop. Much to his detriment, a caution did not come out for that incident, and that's going to put Evan Janik currently in the 4th position. Janik on a little bit older tires than Cochran and Holston right in front of him, so I'm curious to see how that plays out over the next 10 or 15 laps, pending that we do have a green flag run here. But Chris, Janik, really, the story of the season for Janik has been ups and downs. He's had a lot of highs, but he's had some lows as well, including a couple altercations with drivers and some moments of frustration. He's the regular season champion. He's the favorite to win the full playoff championship. I think he's kind of getting locked in tonight, taking the opportunity just to reset, get back into that winning form. 71 looking good right now in that 4th position, chasing down that lap car of Gino Volante, separating him from the number 84, Jacob Cochran, in 3rd position.
Yeah, I definitely think this is a great opportunity for him to get back to that, championship, form that he had earlier this season. I really like what I'm seeing out of the 71. I like that line that he's running, that he looks very comfortable around there. Kind of doing the old school Bristol line, Ellis, like where you try to hook that left front right on that yellow line. I think that car looks like it's driving very well, and yeah, he's going pretty fast without driving it very hard, and I think that's the name of the game here at Bristol. If you can maintain lap time, without over driving corner entry, I think that's a recipe for success around this track.
Probably going to pay dividends in the long run, literally and metaphorically here. If we can get a long green flag run, you might see that 71 move up closer to the front field. Right now running in 4th position. Looks like we got a battle for the lead heating up front. Adam Holston has kind of closed the gap back to Aaron Espy in that number 16. Now it's just about a car length as they head down into turns 3 and 4. It's Espy climbing the banking in that lime green number 16. They cross the line. We're now to lap number 87. Just about 24 laps left in stage number 2. These things are clicking away quick, Chris, and that was a close call there for Holston right up to the back bumper of that number 16.
Yeah, it was right there, and Aaron Espy has, I feel like once he got up there to the lead, that felt like that was one of the faster looking cars through traffic tonight. We saw him a little bit further back earlier in the race, and I felt like he was kind of able to go around guys a little bit easier, complete passes a little bit easier than his competition. Adam Holston has maintained pace with him, and look at Holston roll that bottom lane right there as the lights come on here at Bristol. That's a good sign as well out of that number 8 machine. And Ellis, there's a little bit fresher tires on that 8 machine also, about 19 laps difference. And you're seeing
right now, Yeah, that 18 is using that tire advantage to his advantage, able to work a little bit lower on the track, Chris, but Jacob Cochran, the lowest of them all. Look at that threesome come off the corner. 3 different lanes they are running right now, and Cochran, we talked about saving tires early in the run. Are we seeing that pay off right now? 3-way battle for the lead.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing him rolling up on this battle right here. Right now you're going to see, even though there's a tire advantage on the number 8, you're going to see the advantage that the top lane has on the driver on the inside. Aaron Espy right here is able to hold him off, and he can possibly make his life very difficult as those 2 drivers get really close right there through turns 3 and 4.
If you're Aaron Espy fans or Adam Holston fans, you got to be getting nervous right now. Close battle for the lead, lap 93. It's Holston in that red and white number 8 to the inside. Aaron Espy wins the battle off the corner on the outside, but this has brought Jacob Cochran and Evan Janik back into the picture for the lead. They're fighting for a stage win, which could have meaningful impacts on their playoff hopes. 3 out of these 4 drivers are locked into the playoffs right now. So big story happening with Holston, Cochran, and Janik as they chase down Aaron Espy. But Chris, bigger story, Derek Jewett getting ready to potentially go a lap down. These drivers are starting to work into some pretty fast lap traffic.
Yeah, and with all the attrition out there tonight, there's only 11 cars on the lead lap. A lot of damaged vehicles out there right now. And yeah, Derek Jewett is one of them. A lot of damage that, I'm not sure if he's used a quick repair, if he's holding on to it, but he's trying to get to lap 110 without going a lap down, and I think that's going to be a tall order as Aaron Espy and company are closing in behind him.
And it's going to make life difficult, Chris. We talked about in pre-race some of the stories to follow, dealing with lap-down traffic, hitting your rhythm, saving tires, all while trying not to get gobbled up by the guys behind you. And right now, Aaron Espy is living that nightmare from the front. He's sandwiched in between a lap car and his second and third place competitors. And there's Holston now to the inside in that number 8. Battle for the lead is on. Out of the corner, down the front straightaway, side by side. Espy on top, Holston on the bottom. They've got a duo right behind them. It's Cochran and Janik in row 2.
What great racing right here for the lead. Jacob Cochran almost got to the right rear of Aaron Espy, and I thought that he might have position, but Aaron Espy was able to charge back right here. Now it's Holston trying to use the momentum on the bottom right here. That's going to be difficult right here as, yeah, look at the run right there from the 16 off of turn 2. Just utilizing that momentum from the top lane.
This has brought Brad Nelson in that number 33 in the 5th position into the fold. It's now a 5-car battle for the lead. Throw a blanket over the top 5. They're separated by less than 5 car lengths.
They definitely are right here, and I think Jacob Cochran is thinking that, hey, if I can get clear of the number 8 machine up here on the top, I might be able to make a run at Aaron Espy. It's going to be difficult to squeeze to the outside of the 16. He's running pretty high and kind of protecting that top lane, Ellis. So I think that he's going to have to hope that the 16 is able to clear the 8, and he might be able to kind of squirt to the inside right there in the final closing laps of this thing.
But the equally as big story is, Chris, this is dangerous territory for the top 6 now as Alex Pollock pulls into this battle. They make their way 3 wide on the 91 of Zukov. Espy splits the middle. Cochran's going to try to do the same. Christian Barnes and Brad
Nelson's around.
Pollock is collected in a massive collision down into turn number 3 and 4. Actually, that was 1 and 2, and big trouble for the top 5. Nelson running 5th, Pollock running 6th, and just as I was talking about the danger, Chris, it came to fruition there. What happened down in turns 1 and 2?
Yeah, I think that when they got 3 wide up in front of them, yeah, see, there's 16 of Espy, yeah, and I don't blame him at all. You just got to go. You can't give up the lead, and I think it just caused a stack-up effect right there. There's Nelson bouncing off the 27 of Christian Barnes, and he's going to collect Alex Pollock right there as both of them are going to tag the outside retaining wall going down into turn number 1. That happened, I think it started, Ellis, a couple rows ahead, and eventually the crash happened a couple rows back behind where it initially started.
You just felt like there was trouble brewing there for a couple laps. Stage 2, just 5 laps away from its conclusion. And Chris, Aaron Espy, Brad Nelson, they're going to come down pit road. Nelson's got damage, but Espy's coming from the lead. He's the lone car that is going to come down pit road here, Chris. I'm interested in that strategy. Pollock with some damage right behind them. Aaron Espy, I'm looking 66 laps. He kind of had to do it, I believe, based on some of the numbers that we're seeing.
Well, Ellis, I think that he isn't really interested in stage points tonight. I think he's interested in putting himself in best position to possibly win the race, because when all these other drivers come to pit road at the stage break, he's going to stay out and find himself back in the lead.
I think that could be a good race-winning strategy. Certainly, Aaron Espy and those Espy fans at home hoping that is the case. Folks, if you're watching at home, we appreciate you tuning in tonight. We are so glad, so lucky to have you every single week. There's Brianna in the chat rooting on Josh Gillen in the Integrity Farms number 10. Folks, let us know who you're rooting for tonight. Be an active chatter. Let us know how your day went, or tell us what you're thinking about the racing going on the screen right now. What have you thought about some of those crashes tonight? Sharon Jones, thanks for subscribing, by the way. Sharon Jones Projects, thank you for subscribing. If you haven't hit that subscribe button like Sharon, go ahead and just hit that right now. Doesn't cost you a thing. Also, hit the thumbs up button. Like the video. Helps us get more viewers into the chat, tuned in to watching these amazing drivers do their work every single week. Appreciate all of y'all. Looking forward to seeing your thoughts on the race, and let us know what the best looking car out there is as well. What car looks the prettiest on track right now? Go ahead.
I was going to say, our producer Johnny Rapp has his focus right now on that number 10, the Integrity Farms machine. That's a pretty good looking ride out there, Ellis.
I think some of these drivers might need some products provided from Integrity Farms by the time this race is over. It has been a chaotic, crash-filled Food City 200 here for the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series final race of the regular season before we get the playoffs underway next week. It's going to be a wild conclusion, folks. Do not go anywhere. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Johnny Rapp in the Slingshot TV booth. We are just a little over halfway through, and they've clicked away pretty quick, Chris, despite the cautions we've had. Watching the choose rule right now, drivers choosing the outside or inside line. No surprise, Holston's going to choose the outside here, but this has gone fast, and that speaks to just how difficult this track is. The laps click away, the corners click away, and drivers really have to hit the rhythm. We saw that last crash being caused by kind of a disruption to that rhythm. Leaders had to go. They couldn't wait, and they had to take some aggressive action, and you saw what happened there as a result of it. Right now, pace car getting ready to make that left turn down pit road. It's going to be Holston and Janik, similar to the last restart. Janik got away pretty good last time, but Holston did even better, and it looks to be a repeat performance. Cochran now on the outside in that number 84, trying to gain the position on that number 71. Almost grabs the wall there. He's going to have a big run. Janik thought about cutting him off there, but thought better of it. The rules of momentum and inertia applied, and Cochran won out. He's going to use that outside line to claim P2.
Yeah, and that will be the stage caution right there, I do believe. Yep, caution is going to wave right there. Just one lap is all it was. A lot on the line of that one lap right there. Top 5 going to grab some stage points here, Ellis.
Holston, Cochran, Janik, Kime, and Joshua Gillen. And when you're talking about the drivers locked into the playoffs, those are all big points. Gillen being one of those, Janik being one of those, Holston being one of those. Those playoff points accrue, and it's been quite the performance for that number 8 tonight. 63 laps led. Over half of this race has been led by that number 63. Dominant performance so far for the number 8.
Yeah, it definitely has been a great performance out of him. Probably the most speed we've seen out of him all season long, going back to his win at Las Vegas earlier this season. Yeah, impressive performance out of that car. Such an iconic paint scheme on that car. Dale Jr. taking that thing back to action this past weekend at Anderson Speedway. And here's Adam Holston going to bring it down pit road with the rest of the field.
Top of the field making their way down pit road as stage 2 has come to an end, setting it up for the final push here at Bristol. If you thought it's been chaotic so far, fans, you haven't seen anything yet. Drivers working away around this long, winding pit road. Holston's going to be the first to hit his pit stall right ahead of Cochran and Janik. Not much drivers can do to speed up their pit stop necessarily, but having a good entry and a good spot in their stall can help just a little bit, and could be the difference between first and second, making sure you're not sliding over the line and have to back it up. And here they go. Let's see who does the best job at it. Everyone got into their pit stalls cleanly there. It's going to be a tight race. You can see the right side of the car is being jacked up right now to put new Goodyear rubber tires on. That one driver out here having trouble there, Chris, but drivers rolling off pit road. Derek Jewett, Chris, a little bit of an alternate strategy. Holston gets off first. That was neck and neck at the line between the 84 and 8. We're going to see who the race director awards that position. Right now I'm showing it as Jacob Cochran, but there's probably going to be a bit of a discussion about it here for a moment. But the bigger story, Derek Jewett with a 2-tire call or a fuel-only call on that number 45. And, yeah, interesting call there.
Yeah, the 84, I was kind of watching them come on up pit road. He was a little bit more aggressive getting into his stall. He got into his stall a little bit quicker, Jacob Cochran did, than Adam Holston. And he also has that prime pit stall, Ellis. He has that pole sitter pit stall, the first one off of pit road. And that's kind of just the perfect storm, perfect scenario right there to get him that position right there as Derek Jewett, I think, is having some connection issues. I've seen him blink a few times there, and I think with 7 seconds on pit road, I think that was probably a 2-tire call. So to see right here what kind of speed that 45 machine might have right here on this restart.
And, yeah, that's going to be interesting to follow. We saw Cody Giles, last week's winner at IRP, having some troubles with connection, and it kind of caused some distress for drivers over the course of the race. So hopefully we don't have a similar incident here. Drivers taking the choose rule. Top 2, Chris, going to go high, and Adam Holston's going to slide in there into the 3rd position, but he's going to be inside of row number 1. Interesting call. Holston hasn't really started on the inside, I don't think, since the beginning of this race. He's like the outside. Actually, he started on the outside from 2nd place, I should say. He's been outside all night long, so keep an eye on that number 8. New unfamiliar territory on the inside for this restart. SB kind of having what we believe is the best position on the restart on the outside. Drivers have just been able to get going a little bit quicker up there, and certainly with momentum down into turn 1. Pace car is going to make that left-hand turn. Getting ready to go green here again, coming to lap 117. SB puts us under the green flag. He's to the outside. There goes Cochran by Holston. Holston's going to fight back there on the inside. Aggressive move by the number 8. Down into turn number 2. There goes Adam Holston to the lead.
He's sideways.
The leaders hold on to it. Driver number 8. Everyone stacks up. Can they hold on to it? Caution's going to be out. Race director made an aggressive call, Chris, and drivers, a little bit of damage there, but honestly, I like that call by race control. Saw what potentially could have been a major crash, and we might have just staved it off there with some quick fingers from the race director. So let's see what happened here to Holston. Looked like he just got loose.
Yeah, on these new tires, got loose underneath. Probably just trying to get that track position back right here. Get sideways underneath them. Watch Jacob Cochran here swerve right. A great job by the 84 right there. Very precise driving to avoid him. A couple cars are going to pile into this a little bit later right here. Yeah, there's Gavin Henson sideways. Here comes Christian Barnes in the 27. He also makes some contact. We did have a separate incident as well. The 03 machine of Stephen Gill was also in a crash back behind these guys. So we kind of had a couple different incidents going on there at the same time. There's Gill's bad wrench machine. Yeah, Johnny's going to take us back right here. I think he had some contact right here with Michael Wade. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened right there between Gill and Wade. That 03 machine looks like it just turned right there before entering turn 3. Yeah, and Wade's Junior Johnson machine is unfortunately going to take a lot of damage along with the 03 of Stephen Gill.
Big crash here that could have been a lot worse on lap 118. It's put us under caution once again. Just about 80 laps remaining in the Food City 200. Final race of the regular season for the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. Chris Connor is distressed in the chat. We got the no with about 5 or 6 O's that the Dale Jr. scheme was part of that caution. I second that. That is, like you mentioned, one of the, I think, everyone's favorite paint schemes ever to run. I think they're bringing back the 2001 Pepsi 400 like HD 60 frames, Chris. The highest quality that race has ever been shown in. I think that's coming out, this week or weekend, or did it come out tonight?
I think it was supposed to be today. I saw the post for it, the social post for it on NASCAR social media channels, and that's got me all kinds of excited, Ellis, because, I mean, when you talk about greatest NASCAR races, that's got to be up there near the top of the list.
I would absolutely agree. The racing was great. The finish was memorable. Right now, we're working on some great racing and a memorable finish as well. That's Aaron Espy. You're watching out front in front of the Ghost Energy machine of Jacob Cochran and that number 84. They're your top two. Evan Janik back in third. Derek Jewett scored in the fourth position in that 45. And then, Chris, shout out to Zach White in that number 77 machine.
Yeah.
White, just a great performance all night long. Started 26th, and he's climbed up to the fifth position. Going to be starting inside of row number 3. All those drivers choosing the inside here on the restart. Outside line's going to be chosen by Aaron Espy. No surprise, the leader going to the outside here. Evan Janik going to be lined up on the inside. Folks, let us know who you think's going to win this race. Giving away a free Kyle Busch diecast to the most active chatter. You still got plenty of time to get those comments in. Let's keep that chat going as we get ready to get this race going once again. Pace car getting ready to make that left-hand turn down pit road. Evan Janik on the inside. Leader Aaron Espy gets going with a bump from Jacob Cochran on that number 84. Jewett trying to do the same work to the back of the 71 to give him a friendly little nudge there. Both drivers sailed down into turn number 2. Outside now into turn number 3. Janik and Cochran. Big battle going on behind Aaron Espy, who's watching this happen in his rear view mirror. Janik draws a bead, and it is a close battle. Janik slides to the top of the track. Cochran looks low. Jewett, hard turn to the right. Not sure what happened there to the playoff driver, number 45, but he gets it going again. Boy, that was a hold your breath sort of moment, as all drivers are right now. You can see Janik maybe grab the wall there from second position. Two different lines we're seeing from the leaders, Chris.
We definitely are right here. And yeah, Janik was pretty aggressive with sliding up right there in front of Jacob Cochran. I think he recognized that that's a pass that he needed to complete. He needed to try to get the position on Jacob Cochran. That's going to be one of the toughest competitors probably to beat at the end of this thing. But before Evan Janik can even think about possibly putting himself in position to win, he's got to get around Aaron Espy, who has been pretty lights out tonight. Oh, as Christian Barnes sideways off turn 4. He is on the inside, up against the inside wall. We got several cars involved right here off of turn 2. That's Zach White. I think that's Zachary King.
07 back in front of Pollock and Hunt. They're going to avoid catastrophe, Chris. Chaos everywhere on the track. Somehow we've avoided major incident, and we're still under green flag conditions. Race control doing a great job holding on to that yellow flag and letting us continue to race here. But I saw at least 3 drivers. The 07 was in trouble. Caleb Hunt, Alex Pollock, all kind of part of that fold as we watch this battle between Douglas Wisocki and Derek Jewett. It's not a battle for position, but Jewett to the outside trying to hold on to that spot on the track. My goodness.
Derek Jewett has a lot going on out here, and we are still under green somehow. And Derek Jewett has been passed, and we have another pass possibly going on right here. This one for the lead as Evan Janik trying to challenge Aaron Espy.
That's Janik to the inside. They're coming up one of the cars that had trouble. That's the 07 of Justin Schaub. 3 wide. Espy puts it 3 wide. Schaub into the wall. Janik sideways. Cochran right behind him, trying to get into that battle for the lead. And my goodness, Chris, lap cars, they're playing a big role tonight, and probably not the starring role they were hoping for, but they played a major factor in this race as we watch Aaron Espy made another aggressive move. Had to get by that lap car. Not a lot of patience, but you got to understand it's Bristol. It's 15-second laps. It's happening quick. You got to go, especially when you got guys like Cochran and the number 71 of Janik in your rearview mirror.
Yeah, that was just a big game of chicken right there between those drivers. I think that Evan Janik wanted to try to pin Aaron Espy behind the lap car, use the lap car as a pick, and Aaron Espy basically turned left and said, "You're not going to do that to me." And contact was had, and man, Evan Janik did a heck of a job to hang on to that thing. We've seen cars sideways, and he's really cooled his jets here in the last couple laps to try to keep that thing under control, try to get that right rear tire back under, a better temperature, and trying to take all that edge off of it possibly right here. Is Cochran going to come for the lead now?
I'm seeing that 84 roll in the center of the corner really well right now, Chris. He's able to anchor it down and get that car turned left, center off, and it's paying dividends right now.
It definitely is. Yeah, we feel like Jacob Cochran has had some of the best long run speed tonight. That car has looked really good. Oh, as we got a crash on the backstretch, that's Integrity Farms machine. Alan Zukov involved as well. Those 2 cars right there stopped in the middle of the track. Joshua Gillen and Alan Zukov.
Zukov and Gillen bring out caution here on lap 137, just 63 laps left in the Food City 200. It has been a chaotic race, but we've seen some great racing, including what just happened here to, I believe that started with maybe Joshua Gillen sideways off the corner.
Yeah, another one loose on corner exit. Kind of been the theme of the night as far as handling woes, handling characteristics are concerned. Look at Reggie Kime and Gavin Henson. If those two drivers didn't make contact, it was close.
Oh, and then
unfortunately,
Zukov kind of piles in there. And you mentioned it, Chris. These things happen fast. Bristol's a fast track. Horizon line is incredibly high. It's hard to see what's going on directly in front of you. And Zukov, kind of an example. Johnny's doing it. We got to get on board of this number 9 machine and look at that vantage point, because that might have been the wild ride of the night for Kime. My gosh.
Yeah, and you'll see right here, the 10 car hits the inside wall, comes back up the track, spins sideways, and I mean, you just saw it right there, folks. That's how fast things happen here. I know we maybe sound like broken records here, but unless you've been out there living, you don't really know like how fast you're going until you're out there and somebody starts crashing in front of you, and it's very, very difficult to miss them.
Major story developing, Chris. The top 2 are staying out. Meanwhile, 3rd through 5th, that's the number 16 of Espy, the 84 of Cochran, the 71 of Janik. They're going to come down pit road. Now we have varied strategies. There's going to be about a 20-lap difference on average, Chris, between the second pack of leaders and the top 2 of Holson and Jewett. This is going to be interesting with just 40 laps left. These drivers could make it on fuel. If we were to go green the rest of the way, this could be a major advantage for those drivers who just came down pit road, like Espy and Cochran.
It definitely could be an advantage. I think that maybe Adam Holson felt like he needed to regain some track position after his spin earlier. Holson has, taken the quick repair. Doesn't look like there's any damage on that number 8 machine. Got 19 laps on this set of tires. Derek Jewett behind him, 21 laps. So they are going to be at a speed disadvantage here. Don't know how big the speed disadvantage is going to be. I imagine that we'll see the 8 machine of Adam Holson take the top here on the restart. If he's able to hold on to the lead here for a while, maybe about for 20 or 30 laps, he might feel like, that's a net gain if a caution comes out again here in 20, 30 laps and these guys take their final set of tires at that point.
Big story either way that we're going to have to keep an eye on, Chris. The sun has gone down. The lights have turned on at Bristol. Handling maybe changing a little bit as the track temperature cools down here under the night sky.
It can definitely change. I think the lap time is definitely going to increase. And with more grip on the track, maybe we'll still see some drivers spinning on corner exit as they try to, get back in that throttle sooner. The temperature is definitely coming out of the track, and that will improve the handling characteristics overall. But with the improvement of handling characteristics, Ellis, you have the increase in confidence as well, and more drivers with more confidence means that we might see some more chaos out here.
Chaos and confidence, 2 words that are synonymous with each other here at Bristol and in stock car racing. Right now, that 8 has a lot of confidence. He's worked his way back up to the lead on pit strategy. He's got Jacob Cochran to the inside. Both of those cars stayed out on the last caution. I shouldn't say Holson stayed on the last caution. We're green flag racing once again. 58 laps left here from Bristol. It's coming down to the wire. Holson clearly up front now by 2 or 3 car lengths over Jacob Cochran. Jewett now into 3rd position on the outside. Espy now looking low. Janik trying to work his way through the field, threading the needle, so to speak. That 71 is looking like a man on a mission, Chris, trying to pick up 2 spots for 1 here.
He definitely is. Janik's rolling the bottom like we've seen him doing here for the last half of this race. Probably better than anybody else out there. Trying to get around that 45 machine of Derek Jewett. Jewett holding strong here on the outside as Janik gets sideways, and he's gonna lose some spots because of that.
Janik sideways, going to lose a couple spots as he rolls the inside, but he lost a lot of momentum with that exit out of the corner there. Caleb Hunt trying to take advantage of it. He's the next car in line to move up to the 5th position. That's driver number 78. Highest he's been all race in that number 78 Taco Bell machine. Derek Jewett!
We got trouble.
2 cars from the top 5 almost collect Janik. Big one headed down into turn number 1. At least 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 cars bring us under caution on lap 147.
Yeah, I saw SB Jewett, those two right there. I think Gino Volante also involved. There's a few drivers did amazing jobs getting through there, Ellis, and we're going to talk about them right here. There's Aaron Espy behind the 45 of Derek Jewett. Going to dive in there. Maybe feel like he's got to get this past Sunday. Yeah, and Jewett right here, yeah, gets loose right there on corner exit like we've seen some drivers do right here. Evan Janik does an amazing job squeezing through on the bottom. And watch Reggie Kime right here split the gap right there, make his way through. Douglas Wasaki not as fortunate. There's Zach White, also Gino Volante. These guys piling into the crash right here. Man, some drivers doing amazing jobs to get through there. That McDonald's machine, here he is again threading the needle. Let's go back and watch it again from his perspective, Ellis.
This was a wild one. The McDonald's machine fueled by the Big Mac tonight. He definitely has had a heaping helping of great views of crashes tonight. That was another one there as Kime threads the needle, as you mentioned, Chris. That's going to move him up to the 5th position. I know we got some Reggie Kime fans in the chat. They're rooting him on here. A couple comments in the chat right now. Ricky LaFleur says Holston's going to be back, and Holston's certainly back. He's on pit road right now, Chris. Coming down pit road, going to get some fresh tires. There's going to be about a 10-lap difference now between him and his closest competitors up front. So I like this call. Only 9 cars in the lead lap. He's going to lose some spots, but he might reap the benefits if we get a long run here towards the end of the race. Joshua Gillen also upset by that last crash he was in. Connor Lyons wishing him the best. Ricky LaFleur says Hunt is 3rd. He's my grandson. Okay, we got grandson of Ricky LaFleur in here. That is Caleb Hunt. Now he's up to 2nd. Ricky said he would move out when he wins a race. Could be tonight. So I know Ricky is rooting for Caleb Hunt to win tonight. Says he's going to move out. It's a victory celebration in that number 78. Sit in 2nd position. Ricky, he might have a good chance tonight, so we'll keep an eye on driver number 78. And with that being said, it could be a good time to hear from our partners at AmSoil, who help you bring you this racing every single week. Folks, don't go away. We're going to be back in 30 seconds or less. You're not going to miss a single green flag lap. Yep, we're still here. It's all good. Right now, working caution, number 11, I believe, on the racetrack. That's Jacob Cochran. He's the leader. Caleb Hunt, we just mentioned, in 2nd place. Evan Janik in 3rd, and we mentioned Reggie Kime up into 4th. Alex Pollock in 5th. Chris, we got some new names in here. Zachary King in 7th. Zach White in 9th. And don't look now, Chris, but Gavin Henson, early victim of some crashes, is up to 10th, 1 lap down. 2nd car on 1 lap down. So we could see potentially, with another caution, to Gavin Henson get that thing back into contention. He had a fast car early. Right now, lining up for the restart, drivers taking the choose rule. It's Cochran on the outside. He's your leader. 78 of Caleb Hunt on the inside. Let us know who you're rooting for, folks. We got 48 laps left when we take the green, and those are going to go by in a hurry. So don't go anywhere. Bring your friends in. Let them watch this great racing and experience it with you. Connor Lyons rooting these drivers on in the chat. Pace car pulls off. Number 84 machine goes. We're under green once again. Evan Janik at the outside of Caleb Hunt. Hunt sends it up the banking along with Janik, side by side as they exit the corner. Janik's going to have the run off on the outside. 78 of Hunt's going to cede that position, knowing that outside had all the momentum. He's back to 3rd. Alex Pollock has climbed up to 4th position, Chris, here on lap 154.
He definitely has right there. I'm keeping my eyes back there on Adam Holson right there, putting a lot of pressure on the number 1 machine of Zachary King. Holson trying to take advantage of these pressure tires. There's not a huge difference in the tires. I think he wanted it to go green a little bit longer on the run before that. But with so few cars on the lead lap, Ellis, he still finds himself in a pretty good position. But I think he's got to get his way around the number 1 in front of him fairly quickly, and he does have position here.
That number 8's rolling the outside right now. That's the car we're keeping an eye on because he has led the majority of laps this race. Hit just a few laps ago. He had trouble earlier but gathered it back up, and Holston is working that high line to his advantage. Moving up now to P4. Now he's got Caleb Hunt next on the checklist, just about 4 or 5 car lengths up the road. It might take him a minute to catch him, but he doesn't have any time to waste here, Chris. 43 now, 42 laps left here at Bristol, and they they go by fast.
They definitely do. And 78 machine right here trying to work the inside of the 84 of Jacob Cochran. Cochran feel like he's just kind of pacing himself, but Caleb Hunt has great speed tonight, Ellis. He is really rolling the inside nicely. Ricky LaFleur, you might be getting ready to have a little bit different home situation right here as that 78 is rolling.
Pack up the boxes. Caleb Hunt in second position, able to hook that bottom yellow line around the track in turns 3 and 4. It's a different story as he chases Cochran and follows his line in 1 and 2. About a car length separate these two drivers. Hunt, we've talked to over the course of the season. He's had some good runs, but he's also had some bad luck. The last couple of races has been a string of good finishes for Hunt. Just looking through the stats for Caleb Hunt over the course of the season, to give you kind of a picture of the season, 7 top 5s, average finish of 11. He picks up about 4 to 5 spots, so this driver always on the move, but doesn't have a win. Could tonight be the night for driver 78? Folks rooting him on in the chat right now. They're coming up on lap traffic, Chris. We've seen this be a difference maker as Evan Janik's working through cars like the number 77 of Zachary White. This could be the difference between first, second, and third position. Lap cars are going to be ones to watch here.
Yeah, they are. Lap traffic is always a big factor, a big key here at Bristol. Kind of got to guess which lane would be the best to pass them. Where have they been? Are they going to stay there? Have they been able to get good runs on the top? Evan Janik has looked really impressive, I think, the last half of this race. I thought in the first half that Jacob Cochran, they're both very close. I thought Jacob Cochran had the best sort of bottom roll speed, better than anybody. But Evan Janik, I think, has really turned it up here the last half of the race, and I think it's going to be tight right here between these two drivers.
Yeah, we talked about Adam Holston's speed earlier, but right now, Holston not the fastest car on the track. That title belongs to Jacob Cochran in that number 84, just a few car lengths back from Evan Janik, your race leader. You can see it now, 4 or 5 car lengths. That has closed over the past 4 to 5 laps as the 84 maybe bringing the 78 with him to make this a 3-car battle for the lead. And before you know it, Holston will be there as well as the leaders continue to work their way through lap traffic. Just 43 laps remaining here from Bristol. Don't go anywhere, folks. These things are going to click by in a hurry if we go green the rest of the way. It's got a green flag look to it right now, but drivers getting close to lap traffic. That lead is shrunk now, Chris. 4 car lengths separate first to second, and the number 78's got company right behind them.
Yeah, that's the number 8 machine, the baseball car right here, the Dale Jr. Speedway Classic, number 8. He is rolling the inside right here. Not a big difference in tires, but a slight difference in tires. Also, just the speed that he's had tonight. He's going to complete the pass on Caleb Hunt and going to have his sights set on the number 84 of Jacob Cochran up ahead of him.
I think if you're Janik, you got to be concerned about the long run pace we mentioned behind that number 84. The tail of the tape's probably going to be here in the next 10 laps or so. Is there a crossover point where Cochran really starts to make inroads against that number 71 in front of him? And he's got Holston chasing him behind him. That gap is close to about 5 car lengths in just the last 3 laps. So Holston right now, Chris, the fastest car on the track is that number 8 machine. You can see him slowly coming into the picture behind the number 84 of Cochran. There they are. You could throw a blanket over these cars. About 8 car lengths separate first all the way back to third.
Yeah, Ellis, this is probably the longest run with all the attrition that we've had and the drivers falling out of this race. The track is pretty clean right now. Got some separation between some of these drivers. This is the longest run that we've had here, since maybe like the opening stage of this race. And yeah, we're going to see the drivers that maybe do the best at taking care of their tires early on right here. Pretty close in the lap speeds right now. It looks like, yeah, maybe Jacob Cochran closing up a little bit on Evan Janik and Adam Holston closing up on Jacob Cochran.
And the deeper they get into this run, Chris, the faster the lap cars are going to get. Janik has Gavin Henson, who really was fast in the first portion of this race before being caught up in a big collision early on. The 71, he's got about 4 car lengths separating him from the back bumper of that 39 of Henson, who's a lap down, and he's not going to be eager to give up a second lap because right now he's the first car a lap down. If a caution were to come out, he could be the lucky dog. He's going to give it up right there. He goes 2 laps down. Cochran closing the distance, and Holston's even closer as we watch through the rear deck lid of the number 71. Things are picking up. 24 laps left in Bristol.
Yeah, that worked out really well for both Janik and for Cochran right there. You don't want to be side by side with lap cars on corner exit. Both of them were able to be clear of the 39 of Gavin Henson right there. Yeah, and this battle has gotten tighter, Ellis. It's very, very close. Look at Holston charge on the outside. He's got position here.
Holston changes the script. He goes to the outside and he makes the move on Cochran, who's had the fastest long run car all night long. That was the car I was keeping an eye on, but right now, Chris, Holston just a click faster than Evan Janik on that last lap. It's 22 laps, now 21 laps remaining here from Bristol. Don't go anywhere, folks. Bring in your friends. It is going to be a wild finish. Let's make it happen here. It's going to get crazy. Janik has to work his way by the number 1 lap car. Holston might take this as an opportunity to gain a few more car lengths.
Yeah, I saw Evan Janik go up to the top lane before he lapped the 35 machine of Gino Volante. I think he was trying to get a little bit of speed, but I also think he was trying to fill it out a little bit in case he has to go up there later. He went up there again, and that might be difficult news for Adam Holston. Holston, I think that he would prefer to be on the top. Passing on the inside is going to be difficult against Janik right here, and if Janik has that outside lane rolling, Holston's going to, I think he might have a difficult time getting around him right here, but we still got 18 laps to go.
That time by, they ran almost identical lap times, about 5/100ths the advantage to Evan Janik. P1 here. It's going to come down to the wire. They cross the line once again. Looks to be about even, Chris, about 4/1000ths of a second advantage. Holston, that time, they're clicking off identical lap times. Twinsies here with just 17 laps remaining in Bristol. You're watching it live here on Slingshot TV. Holston chasing down the leader, Evan Janik. These have been the two fastest cars all night long. Janik, the regular season champion. Holston, a consistent favorite. He's trying to establish himself as the championship favorite here in the final race of the regular season before the playoffs begin next week.
Evan Janik is running really high. We saw him in turns 3 and 4 on the last lap. Extremely high. He is also right here, right on the edge of that grip strip up there, leaving nothing on the table here in the closing stages of this thing. We're talking about how much that lane will destroy your tires, Ellis. They're not worried about tires right now. They're worried about winning this race. They're worried about winning here the regular season finale at Bristol.
The gloves are off. It's about bragging rights right now. Both of these drivers locked solidly into the playoffs. In fact, we might be looking at the two favorites to potentially win the championship. But if you're an Adam Holston fan, the bad news is that car appears to be falling off the pace a little bit every lap. Janik really extending the lead, but Holston very well could just be giving it a moment to let those tires cool down to make one final run in the remaining 12, now almost 11 laps.
Yeah, and we've also seen Adam Holston have to make a lot of passes, Ellis, to get to where he is right here. Maneuvering around vehicles will cause you to burn your tires up a little bit faster than, say, Evan Janik, who has had some pretty clean air on the nose of that number 71 AmSoil machine. So, Holston could have just, we could just be seeing the consequences of all those passes through the field to get back up to the second spot.
He's got two cars in front of him. Evan Janik now getting into faster lap traffic. Will this be an opportunity for Adam Holston? Reggie Kime and Zachary White both give way to the leader. Adam Holston's going to try to thread his way through similarly. They've got several cars still yet to come that they're going to be putting a lap down or another lap down. It's just 9 laps remaining here from Bristol in the regular season finale. Get those guesses in, folks. We're still giving away that diecast. Get your last comments in and try to get yourself up in the leaderboard for that free Kyle Busch diecast. If you're watching at home, the gap is about 10 car lengths. It's remained steady over the past 4 or 5 laps. Could Adam Holston be gearing up for one final run here? Struggling to get by the lap car of Reggie Kime, but there's another opportunity with the lap cars in front of Evan Janik.
Yeah, Janik's actually opening it up. He's opened it up. He's probably doubled his lead that he had before. Up over a second now, 1.3 seconds, 1.4, a second and a half right here. He's gotten through the lap traffic a little bit better than Adam Holston has, and he has really opened up the gap between himself and the second place competitor.
Last
Here comes
week,
Jacob Cochran.
Yeah, Jacob Cochran now, maybe with a little bit better tires. Holson might have spent what he had. Cochran saved a little. Cochran moving up to second. And that could be an important position because with just 5 laps remaining, there's still the opportunity. We could see a yellow flag that gives us a green-white checker. We're running out of those opportunities with just now 4 laps remaining. Evan Janik, Chris, he's had 4 wins this season. His average finish is 5th position. We saw him take a summer dip in terms of consistency and had some pretty bad finishes, but in the recent weeks, he's been on the upswing, getting back into winning form. Tonight, we might see him get back into victory lane for the first time in months. So that 71 looking for win number 5 here. He's got just 2 laps remaining. He's got to make it to that 1 to go. So we don't have a green-white checkered. It'll be a race back to the finish line once they hit that white flag. I'm pretty sure Janik's looking at his rearview mirror. He's liking what he's seeing, but that battle we're watching now, that's for second place. Holson trying to hold off Jacob Cochran on the inside. They do battle through turns 1 and 2. Evan Janik now working his way down the backstretch. The Whiplash Simcam's white flag is flied. Janik working his way behind the number 78 of Hunt. Number 71 is number 1 tonight. Win number 5 for Evan Janik in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series here in the regular season finale at Bristol. It's going to be Jacob Cochran, Chris, by about 1/100th over Adam Holson. Those are your top 3 finishers tonight, and this race did not disappoint. Some chaos early on, but some long green flag runs as this race kind of came to its second half and its conclusion. And Evan Janik, really, that's the story of the second half of the race, Chris. You mentioned it. First half, just kind of ran his own race, didn't make a lot of noise, but that second half, that 71 came on when the lights went down.
He did, yeah. We mentioned how good that car looked rolling the bottom in the second half of the race. Yeah, he did a heck of a job, really improved as the night went on. And unofficially, Ellis, our 26th place finisher, Brett Wren, I believe he is going to find himself transferring through into the playoffs via the difficult nights that David Moore and Alan Zukov had.
Yeah, we saw there for a little bit David Moore was positioned to potentially have a chance at a playoff berth, but some bad luck struck that number 47, and Brett Wren is going to be locked into the playoffs with a disappointing finishing tonight, but he's got a new opportunity, a fresh start next week as the playoff begins. Let's talk to some of those playoff drivers, the top 3 tonight. First driver we're going to hear from is that number 8 of Adam Holson. We'll see if we can bring him into the booth. Give me just a second. Adam Holston, driver number 8. Congratulations. This is Ellis, Chris, and Johnny in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, great job. I know that wasn't the win you were looking for. You led over 70 laps tonight. That 8 was on fire for the first half of the race, but you had some struggles. You made some swings on pit calls. Did you have anything for the 71? Could you done anything different tonight to maybe get up another spot or maybe in victory lane?
Honestly, no. I kind of burnt my tires up there on that last run, working my way back up there, and then once I got there, I didn't really have anything to work with. But nah, I don't really think there was much I could have done. Really was hoping for a caution or something late there.
Was tonight as chaotic as you had expected, or was it more chaotic? We saw a lot of action out on the track. You even yourself had a spin, but some pretty big collisions out there tonight.
Honestly, it wasn't too bad. Like, from my viewpoint, it wasn't too bad, but I feel like if you look a little further back, it was probably a little more chaotic. But I really want to talk about that stage, or that run in the end of stage 2. That was probably the most chaotic part. We had all the lap cars in front of us, and we're duking it out, they're duking it out. It was just a mess.
That was wild. Kind of what was going through your head? How nervous were you? And did you expect there to be the crash, which we ultimately saw?
If we started to try to pass the lap cars, I definitely expected something to happen. But if they held their line in front of us, I didn't really know what I was going to do.
how is this race going to compare to Richmond as we open the playoffs? We know that you have had a strong run over the course of the regular season, really capping that off tonight with a third-place finish here at Bristol. Does any of the short track stuff translate into next week? And what's the mindset? Is there a mindset shift for driver number 8 as the regular season ends and a whole new playoff season begins?
Well, it is a home track of mine, same with Bristol, and it's a completely different track than Bristol. So, you know, you got the same aspect of the short track, but it's going to be a little different kind of turn entries and stuff. You know, I'm going to keep the same mindset going into it, though, just be aggressive as I need to and, you know, get the finish that I need to stay in the playoffs.
Awesome, man. We'll be watching you at Richmond as the playoffs begin next week. Before we let you go, any shout outs to folks watching at home?
Yeah, I'll shout out 5 Star Racing for a 134, and I just thank them all for, you know, working as a team and going through this whole season and getting to the playoffs. And I'll thank Black Diamond Designs for the paint scheme, and I thank Mystic Racing League for putting on these races, and I thank y'all up in the booth for putting on the show.
Hey, man, we appreciate you, and we appreciate you putting on a show tonight. That 8 looked good out there. Go and enjoy that third place, man, and lock in for next week at Richmond as the playoffs begin. That's Adam Holston, driver number 8. Have a good night, Adam.
All right, you too.
Thanks. All right, Chris, we heard from third place. Now it's time to bring in second place, Jacob Cochran, into the booth.
Our second place finisher, Jacob Cochran. This is the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
And Jacob, we saw you early in the race. We obviously knew that you had the single lap speed in qualifying, but Ellis and I were kind of watching you and talking about how we thought that you were one of the drivers who was doing a really good job of saving tires. It seemed like you were trying to be very, very aware, very cognizant of looking after your tires. Was that kind of your strategy early on, and, you know, just trying to look after that right rear tire, the right front as well as this race went on?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's normally the strategy here, but the cautions just threw a wrench into that. You know, I mean, I thought we did a good job saving tires, but that last run, man, I was trying to get back to the 71, so I burned them all up.
Yeah, it just seemed like, when it was time to go right there, you definitely got all you could out of that number 84 machine. Talk to us about the handling of some of these cars out here tonight. It seemed like exit of the corners was definitely the trouble spot. I saw a lot of cars doing some self-spinning, just getting loose, free on corner exit. Was that something that you felt in your car as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's just all in the throttle. You got to be patient coming off, and you know, I was in a pretty good spot right there at the end. I was in the lead, and you know, felt like I was saving tires pretty good and still being able to keep in front of the 71. And I don't know what it is. I went into turn 1, and I guess I drove it just a little too deep and hit the right bump, and it just shot me into the outside wall. Yeah, I mean, it's a handful for sure.
You made one nice recovery to get back up to second place here. Playoffs are starting next week. Ellis and I were talking during the race. We definitely feel like you're one of the championship favorites, somebody we're going to have our eyes on. Playoffs begin next week at Richmond. Another short track. How do you feel about your chances when we hit the 3/4 mile there in Virginia?
Yeah, we feel pretty good. You know, Richmond, I mean, all the short tracks, I guess I got to say I enjoy it better than most. But, you know, Richmond, again, it's another handful. But, you know, I think we like our shot pretty good there.
We're looking forward to seeing you out there. Looking forward to seeing you put on a show and contend for that championship throughout these playoffs. Before we let you go celebrate this awesome podium finish here tonight, do you have any shout-outs?
Yeah, first, shout out you guys up in the SRM booth. You always do a good job, and we appreciate it every week. And shout my team out, Aaron SB Racing, you know, and Alex Pollock, Black Diamond Designs for the sick paint scheme for tonight. And Brett Wren, Fall Creek Plumbing for sponsoring the series, and Brandon Willard for putting the league together.
Yeah, you definitely had one of the sickest paint schemes out there. Good looking ride. was putting it up front there all night. Great speed out of that number 84. That's Jacob Cochran, our second place finisher. Great run tonight, bud. Congratulations.
Yep. Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
2-2.
All right, now it's time to bring in driver 71. He was number 1 tonight, Evan Janik, winner of the Food City 200, the regular season finale for Mystic Racing League. This is Ellis, Chris, and Johnny up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Man, 44 laps tonight. Not the majority of laps, but they were led when it counted. It's been a minute since we've talked to you in Victory Lane, but you are finally back in that number 71 and not at a better time as the playoffs get ready to begin next week at Richmond. You had some tense moments out on the track. What was it like out there? We've been asking drivers, and chaos has kind of been the answer we've heard most.
Yeah, it definitely was in the back, but racing up front, it was a lot of fun. There was a moment with the 8 there where he spun out in front of us, and we all had to get on the binders and avoided him, and a few others. But this was actually a pretty good Bristol race, in my opinion.
And stage 1, we saw some tight racing between you and the top 5. Almost could throw a blanket over you guys, and you managed not to have a wreck for several laps. We know you ran in some lap traffic. Was that the most difficult part of tonight, was just navigating your way through the lap traffic as it comes up fast here at Bristol?
No, I don't think so. I think it was deciding when it was time to go. A lot of the first half of the race, I was just sitting, letting them race, and then I would go to the top and run them down quick, and there was just really nowhere to go, so no reason to push it. So that was the hard part. When guys went really hard at it early, they ended up being stuck side by side because they both wore out their stuff and couldn't get by each other. So tire wear and deciding when to turn the light switch on and go for it was the hard part tonight.
We saw a moment there about halfway through the race during a big pileup. You almost got pulled into it. I'm wondering, did you even have any damage, or were you even had any contact made with that right rear? You barely squeaked through it down there on the apron.
Yeah, I think the 45 got into my right front when we were going like 2 miles an hour. So we did pretty good, him and I, avoiding that. It was definitely scary because I had already used my fast repair, because in the first stage when the 8 got loose, I got loose getting on the brakes trying to avoid them, and I hit the wall pretty hard, enough so that I had 5 minutes of damage and had to use my fast repair early. So that was really tense because if I got damage, I was pretty much done.
Well, you were able to hang on to it. I want to kind of look forward a little bit as we head into the playoff opener next week at Richmond. Man, you won Martinsville, you won Bristol, and I know they're not the same tracks, but talking about 2 short tracks, what do you make your chances next week? Do you think any of this carries over into Richmond? Did you learn any lessons from either one of those 2 races that translate into next week?
No, not really, but Richmond, I think, is my best short track. Now, I don't think I'll be the fastest there. I think there are definitely faster guys that just didn't show up tonight. So it really depends on who shows up. I'll know how good I'll do.
Well, if that is the truth, then look out for the rest of the field. That's bad news for them. Richmond, maybe your best short track. We may be looking at a championship favorite. One last question for you, Evan. Who do you really have pinpointed as your number 1 kind of threat or contender here that you're competing with for the championship?
I would have said, I don't even remember who was battling in the first half, but coming up late, Cochran, the 84, he has been fast everywhere. And I thought that in the beginning, I didn't know how hard he was pushing, so I thought he had the car to beat. But it turns out he used it up a little bit, and I was really good on the long run. So, but the 84, he's won a lot, and he's closed the gap a lot more than others.
And it's going to be a great battle to watch for the remaining 7 races. Before we let you go celebrate win number 5, buddy, you got any shout-outs?
Yeah, thank you to Fall Creek Flying for being the title sponsor of this series. 5-Star Racing Group, it's been a lot of fun racing with them tonight, and we got, I think, 3 in the top 5, and then Black Diamond Designs for making all of my paints you see here.
Well, man, congratulations. Go celebrate that victory and get ready for next week. Playoff start.
All right, see you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Chris, great finish. We heard from our top three. Let's check out the rest of the running order as we look at the finishing results for the Food City 200 tonight from Mystic Racing League in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. We heard from our top three. Alex Pollock, Chris, great way to gear up for maybe a deep playoff run. Fourth place finish here at Bristol, and it was hard fought and well earned. Caleb Hunt finishes fifth in that 78. No moving out from Grandpa's house tonight, but hey, we could see a win before this season is out with that pace Caleb Hunt has shown. Reggie Kime, one of the best finishes he's had this season in the 6th position. Zachary King also maybe a season's best, 7th tonight. Gavin Henson, after early trouble, is going to have to settle for the 8th position, 2 laps down. Casey Bristow, after an incident earlier, gathers it back up and finishes 9th tonight. Joshua Gillen brings the Tegrity Farms machine home in 10th for that number 10.
Yeah, and as we go on through the rest of the field right here in 11th position, Douglas Wasaki, after a great qualifying run tonight, he will finish 11th after he had some trouble in this race. All these drivers that you see right here on your screen, 11 through 20, ran into trouble. Gino Volante, happy birthday to him, will finish in the 12th position. Zach White in 13th. Zach White had a lot of speed tonight, Ellis. I thought that this was one of his more impressive races speed-wise all season long. He definitely ran better than 13th tonight. Aaron Espy, another driver who ran better than 14th. I felt like there were times also where he was one of the fastest cars on the track. Derek Jewett will finish in the 15th spot. All these drivers you see after Derek Jewett were out of the race. Christian Barnes is going to bring it home in 16th. Alan Zukov, unfortunately for him, he will not advance into the playoffs. He gave it a valiant effort tonight, but he will finish in 17th. Justin Schaub will wind up in the 18th position. Stephen Gill bringing it home in 19th, and Brad T. Nelson will round out the top 20.
And all these drivers having trouble, Chris. Michael Wade in that number 3 machine, I know he had some fans in the chat. He has to settle for 21st tonight. And then the big story we were really following, David Moyer, Chris, early on in the first 50 laps, it looked like after a Brett Wren casualty took him out of the race, that's Wren, David Moyer was really set up for a potential playoff berth, having to finish 9th, but he got caught up in some trouble later on in the race. He's going to have to settle for 22nd. I know he'll be disappointed, but he'll go on to fight for another good finish at Richmond next week. Rayshawn Winklefield had speed early, but after a couple of incidents, that 23 settled for 23rd tonight. Colin Bollinger speed, but got caught up in an early race collision. He finishes 24th. Robert McKay in that 88 trying to clinch a playoff berth tonight, came up a little bit short. He finishes 25th. And then Brett Wren, the driver that we mentioned, really had trouble early. And the big story we were following, he's able to hold on to it with the last place finish tonight. Wren is going to lock himself into the final playoff position as we get ready for those playoffs next week. And Chris, let's just talk about that playoff schedule. You've got Richmond to open it up next week under the lights with the Sofa News 200. We've already heard Evan Janik say he is fast at Richmond, so look out the rest of the field. But then they head to Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're going from a short track to a wild card restrictor plate race at that new Atlanta Motor Speedway. If you're a driver, how do you kind of manage the 180-degree turn from one type of track to another over the course of 2 weeks to start the playoffs and really the first round of the playoffs?
Yeah, it's very difficult, Ellis. I think that maybe thinking about Richmond, I think that probably you're thinking, and it is a short track, and short tracks are wild cards, but I don't think it's near as much of a wild card as Atlanta is. So maybe you're thinking, I need to get as many points as I can possibly get next week at Richmond, because who knows what's going to happen, in the restrictor plate setting. So, when we go for the Sofa News 200 here next week at Johnny Rapp's favorite track, the Richmond Raceway, I think that these drivers are going to want to try to get as many points as they possibly can.
And then just look ahead. The second round is Charlotte's Roval and Kansas Speedway. Again, 2 very different tracks. This is a very intriguing playoff schedule in my mind because the way the rounds look like they're organized, they're very different, diametrically opposed tracks. You've got the Roval in Kansas. Third round, you've got Talladega in Martinsville. 2 opposite, absolutely the most opposite tracks on the circuit in Martinsville and Talladega. And then it wraps up at your favorite track, the championship finale at Miami. That's coming up on October 9th in just a little over a month and a half. So I think this is going to be some of the best racing we've seen all season, with the stakes even higher between these 12 playoff drivers. And Johnny, if we can just pull up the playoff board real quick to see, show fans at home and watching the replay where those drivers are going to be seated, close to the same seating for the playoffs here. As we take a look at the points. I know I sprung that one on you, Johnny, but might be helpful to kind of set things up.
Or where is it?
No, it's the points.
Oh, okay.
That we had. Yeah. I should have been a little bit more clear with that, but you got faster fingers than me, so.
So this is where we were.
There we go.
Yeah, before the race here. So.
Yes. So all those drivers through 12th are into the playoffs. It's a 12-car playoff field. Joshua Gillen and Brett Wren race their way in tonight. And that's going to be fairly similar. Playoff points already included in that lineup. So that is going to be very similar. We won't know it until it's made official later on this week. But Chris, a lot of names amongst those playoff drivers that I think could potentially get wins and really advance deep into the playoffs. We already talked about Janik and Cochran, but Holston, Jewett, Barnes had a rough night tonight, but he's had speed. Gavin Henson, we think he could get a win. Caleb Hunt has shown moments of brilliance in the past month or so. So this is going to be really intriguing, and I think it's going to be something worth tuning in every single week to follow.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to see what some of these drivers can do. And yeah, I'm excited to see maybe a driver like you mentioned, like Caleb Hunt maybe, or Gavin Henson, a driver who hasn't won a race in the regular season. You know, maybe we go to Atlanta and one of those drivers can, pull off a win there, and find themselves, advancing forward and, putting themselves in good positions, later on in the playoffs. Evan Janik and Jacob Cochran have racked up a lot of points here. So they put themselves in good position to have themselves like a good buffer zone. But, a great, round out of those drivers that maybe haven't won a race. I see a lot of opportunity races. Talladega, Atlanta, Martinsville even. Anything can happen at some of those tracks. So very exciting stuff to come right here in the playoffs.
There was some thought put into that playoff schedule yet to come. But speaking of yet to come, Chris, we've got several races later on next week. We've got 2 new series starting up. We had the Clash last night broadcast on Slingshot TV for Slingshot Racing League and the Stand-Up Fight Series Invitational. Those are some of the best racers in iRacing, racing in those Gen 4 cars. It was a wild finish last night, but that was nothing compared to what we're going to see at Daytona next week on Wednesday night live. Broadcast right around the same time. Tune in for that. You'll get notified if you have notifications turned on. And as we mentioned, we head to Richmond next week for race number 1 of the playoffs for the Mystic Racing League. And then Wednesday, the following week, got race 2 of the Stand-Up Series at Old Atlanta. I know you're going to be part of that, and that is a track you absolutely love. And then just to tease, we got an ARCA series coming up on Mondays that Johnny's going to be in the booth for with Justin Wilson and put on a great show as they did last season. So we got lots of racing coming up on Slingshot TV. Make sure you tune in for all of those folks. We appreciate you tuning in tonight. We hope you enjoyed the coverage of the Food City 200. For Slingshot TV, I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Johnny Rapp. Folks, it's been a pleasure tonight, and that's a wrap. We'll see you next week at Richmond. Have a great week, folks.